Welcome to the Medicine Lodge, the Mystery School of Adam Kalaman, and Revelation Book 2, the Magical Mystery Tour. Today I'm going to share another medicine story with the Dolphin people. I call the Dolphin power because it is truly amazing. And this shows everyone what can happen when you ride along and surrender with the Spirit and where it might take you, and into various kinds of missions and medicine and amazing events. So this one has to do with the dolphins being abused. I was up there in the Florida Panhandle near an Air Force base with my Susie, Uriel, my angel mate, and we read in the paper that there was a report that the U.S. Air Force was out flying over the Pacific or the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico and spotting these dolphin pods. And well, all these cool guys, these Tom Cruise wannabes, thought it would be real cute to use them for machine gun practice with their F-16 jets. Oh, they're big and bad, you know. And these helpless, beautiful people down there, well, they made real nice targets. Well, that just really rubbed my fur the wrong way. And I went to Source, Father, Mother, God, and I say, well, something has to be done about this. And there has to be some medicine. So I started getting a prompting from my witnessing, and had the idea that there needed to be an interspecies medicine between the dolphins and myself, the Air Force being my species and them being the victims of it. I said, well, I see what to do. I was shown how this was going to work. And so we had a long weekend coming up. So Susie said in the morning before, let's go down there tomorrow and deliver the medicine and have a nice weekend. Said okay. She often did that. She was such an angel. She'd tune right in and instigate things. So off we went and went south towards the Everglades. And on the way, we had to go right past the Air Force Base where the planes were flying out of. And I was a pretty good psychic and remote viewer, so I knew the Air Force intelligence had people that were trained in that, so I knew they could pick up my message. So we drove south and went through the town of Homestead, by Homestead Air Force Base, and I sent out this message to the psychics in the Air Force, and I felt them pick me up, my mind, and they were curious. So I just told them, well, we've witnessed what you're doing with the dolphins out there, and you have to stop that immediately and end this policy. and bring your pilots into courtesy and protocol with other life, you know. And if you don't, the word I got is that there will not be one brick laying on top of another of your base, and the wrath of God will come down upon you. And I could see them nod. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, we'll take that under consideration. Okay. But this was a warning, and I delivered it. So we went south some more and went down to Key Largo, rented a boat and went snorkeling out in the reefs, those beautiful reefs, and had a nice time, and then came back. And several days went by, and we started seeing a report of this hurricane out there in the Atlantic. And it started getting real big real fast. And we watched it grow, and it was headed towards Miami, it looked like, maybe, or north of there. And then it got real super big. It went from Cat 3 to Cat 4 to Cat 5. Really big storm. And we started to wonder, Susie and I, well, what's going to happen now? Well, it finally came ashore north of Miami and aimed itself right directly at Homestead Air Force Base and the town of Homestead, and ripped through there with a vengeance. And when it blew through, it was true. There wasn't a brick laying on top of another. They had to move all the planes away north. There wasn't anything left of that base. And unfortunately, the people of Homestead suffered as well because of the actions of the Air Force. And they would not stand down. But then it went across Florida, went out into the Gulf of Mexico, and began picking up more power from the warm water. And then it turned north, where we were up in the Panhandle and in Port Walton Beach. And it was going to land somewhere, and we weren't sure where. But it was big and powerful again and headed in our direction. And so they tell you, you know, it's going to land somewhere in this region here along the coast. So we began to get a little afraid and packed up our pickup truck with various things we thought we ought to save if it came to us. And then watched it for a while, and then I said to Susie, well, I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to go shamanic and direct this thing around us. She said, all right, well, go for it then, and we'll just make a run for it if it doesn't succeed. So I went and to the meditation and was looking at the storm, and sure enough, it went right around us. We had a bunch of rain, and it went over through Mobile, Alabama, and then took a right and went right around us and turned into just a rainstorm after a while, like they do. So that was all pretty interesting medicine. But it shows you, you see, what the power of the Spirit is and what it can do. And what had happened is the Great Spirit had moved through the dolphins and empowered them. They are the guardians of the sea, the oceanic world, and they know how to work with it. So in their own defense, they were allowed to energize and direct that storm into its wrath of judgment upon people who have no respect for life and no respect for other beings. So they got a big lesson. And the words, "nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force," are not quite true. So I've never heard of any more incidences of Top Gun pilots using dolphins for target practice. So I'm sure everyone got the memo after this medicine. And it serves as a good lesson for the arrogant. Arrogance is a fanciful illusion that can bring down the wrath of the heavens upon you to snap you out of it. So you must have humility for things that are bigger than you. You may be in charge of mighty technology, but Mother Gaia has tsunamis, hurricanes, volcanoes. Oh, God has comets and meteors, and the mighty sun pretty much trumps anything we have. So the best policy is to have a humble and respectful attitude towards things that are bigger and more powerful than you are. And have a loving heart, and you'll have a richer life and a more rewarding and fulfilling experience. So these are the lessons of the earth plane, and coming in here on these semesters and learning about the protocols of the universe and of life, and what the wisest and most loving course of action might be, and what is appropriate in every instance. And eventually we will master all of it, and having learned, we will ascend higher. So I invite you to continue the meditation in your own mystery school on these things if you wish, or upon anything else, and go with God. Vaya con Dios. Until tomorrow, Amun Ra. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Aho.